here. What I wanted to do is take a little bit of time to share some information about our exciting India launch. We've been working on this for a couple of years now. We're getting closer to the finish line, or I guess the starting line. So I'm excited about it. I hope you're excited about it. It's going to be our next big market. So the opportunity is just really amazing. So I wanted to take some time today to walk you through kind of what we've shared with our team elite so far on our recent team elite broadcast. So just let me get to the next slide. I don't think it's a surprise to anyone. I just wanted to speak a little bit about India's massive opportunity, right? Because India's the biggest country, there's 1.4 billion people, and they're all seeking empowerment. I'm sure you must know, just like China, there's a lot of competition with the population size. India also has the youngest population. The median age is under 35. There's about 350 to 400 million millennials there. A lot of well-educated people, but not enough opportunities, right? There's not enough jobs. So what we can offer as Nu Skin with our business model, with our products, is something that we believe is perfect for India. We believe it's something that has really good potential. Now, that being said, with India, the Indian regulations, so the rules involving direct selling, are a little different than the other countries that we operate in today. So, what does that mean for us today, right? So, you're all already part of Nu Skin today in our other open markets. So, when it comes time to help India grow, what does that mean? So, let's talk a little bit about that. When the market opens, who is eligible to build in India? Because of the regulations that I mentioned earlier, what it really boils down to is the easiest way for someone to build in India when the market opens is to be someone of Indian origin. So, by someone of Indian origin, I mean someone who is currently living in India today, who is Indian, who was born and grew up there, or someone who is an NRI, a non-resident Indian. That means someone who grew up in India, who may be born in India, but they're living outside of India right now, right? Like they might be on a work visa in some other country, they might have immigrated to another country to live temporarily. It could also be someone who has some sort of tie to India. Maybe their parents immigrated to another country, maybe their grandparents immigrated to another country, but today maybe they're living in somewhere like Canada or US. Um, for those folks who have that tie to India, they are allowed to go into India if they have something called an OCI card, an Overseas Citizen of India card. And that's essentially for someone who has some ties to India, where they can go in and work. They have all the rights as an Indian citizen would have, with the exception of the right to vote and the right to own agricultural land. So that's someone who can go into India and start being a direct seller. And then the fourth type of person who could go into India, who can build in India when the market opens, is someone who has a PIO card. That's a person of Indian origin card. It's very similar to the OCI card concept that I just explained. In fact, the Indian government is going to phase out the PIO card at the end of this year, and have everyone just be on an OCI card. So those are kind of the four people of Indian origin who are authorized to work in India. Now, does that mean foreigners cannot work in India? Not necessarily. Foreigners can, but it's a very cumbersome process. I'm not sure if anyone has experienced Indian bureaucracy, but it's a very lengthy process. So you would need to go and get a government issued business visa. As a foreigner, you would need to go and set up an Indian entity. You need to set up an Indian bank account, tax IDs. It's a very long process just to take part in the Indian opportunity. So, what we are recommending to all of our leaders today is to find someone who is of Indian origin in your home market. So, if you're living in Canada, there's a lot of Indians living in Canada. So, if you can find them, talk to them about the opportunity. You can sign them up already in Canada today or any of Nu Skin's open markets. So when you sign that person up and when we open India, that person will have the opportunity to go into India and build. So from that perspective, you are already finding a way to have someone who can help you, or someone you can help actually build a business in India. Now, you yourself, if you're a foreigner, as I mentioned, you will not be able to go into India and build, but you have that kind of person who is your go-between, or the person who is allowed to go and work in India. You've sponsored them, they're part of your team in Canada. So that's when it comes to who is eligible to build in India. Now that's great, but what does that mean for you, right? So how do you as an international leader participate? I just mentioned that you can go and find someone who is that Indian origin person in your home market. But what will happen, again, because of the Indian regulations, we cannot pay commissions outside of India. So we have built this concept of a global growth pool. The idea is that you will be compensated as an international leader if you can build an India leadership team through your India eligible person. So let's say, Jane, you are in Canada right now. You go and find an Indian person living in Canada. You sign them up, they have a Canadian account. Now, when the market opens, that Indian person who has the Canadian account will be able to go and create an Indian account in India. Again, because of the regulations, the Indian account and the Canada account are two separate accounts. It's the same person, but they're two separate accounts. They have contracts with two separate entities. But because you, Jane, as the Canadian person, found this person in Canada, you are helping and supporting them build their business. And part of that is actually how do you build, right? There's the strategic aspect of leadership. So this global growth pool is something that you will be able to benefit off of if this Canadian account that you found, they go and build in India, they build a big leadership team with a certain amount of sales volume. If they do that, that act of you sponsoring that Indian person in Canada, that Indian person going and doing well in Canada and in India, that will actually act as an unlock for you. What that unlock means is that because of your help in supporting and mentoring that Indian person in Canada, you will be eligible to be paid through this global growth pool. And the value of the global growth pool will be something similar to what you would expect through our global SPP. But it wouldn't be tied necessarily, it wouldn't be tied necessarily to what you would think of like your lead bonus today, because that's part of your organization. But like I said, in India, the India tree needs to start and end in India. So this Canadian person that has an Indian account, they will have an India tree and India business that is separate than their Canada tree, their Canada business. But ultimately, for you as the international leader, you will be able to benefit by because you are supporting them through this global growth pool. When we talk about the launch portfolio, when Nu Skin opens markets, we don't typically offer the full offering, right? We offer kind of a small limited offering that's going to be our launch portfolio. And that's the approach we're taking with India as well. You'll notice that we have a fairly small set of products. Initially, in our pre-launch period, we are going to offer these products in kits. They're not necessarily going to be kitted as you see in the visuals here, but it's the idea, it's more of a visual to say that initially when we open the market, there's going to be a heavy focus on building the business because when we open in India in the qualified entry period, we won't have a consumer base built out. We won't have an affiliate base built out. But with these kits, we hope that you'll be able to get your business up and running really quickly. Now, let's talk about the products themselves. You'll notice that we have some beauty products and we have some wellness products. In India, the direct selling market is about $3.4 billion dollars, and 74% of that actually comes from wellness products. So we think we have a really good space to play, especially with Prism. You all know that we're working feverishly to get Prism into the market soon. Globally, we're going to have our team elites, our qualified team elites, have access to some of the Prisms on the team elite trip right now in Greece. We'll have some qualified team elites be able to access some of the limited Prism units in November. And then we're also going to have like a global launch of the device next year. So we're tying a lot of our wellness products and portfolio to the Prism story because the intelligent wellness story is something that is going to be a great, unique selling point for us in India. And what we've done to tie our wellness products to Prism is we've created two kits. There is a core nutrition kit and a TRME kit. The core nutrition kit is actually made up of LifePak Core and Marine Omega, or omega essential fatty acids. The LifePak Core is actually going to be a little different than the LifePak that you might know. It's not LifePak Nano, it's not LifePak Elements. All of these products that I'm showing you today, with the exception of the devices, have been designed for India. What does that mean? I'm going to go to the next slide and come back to it, but this slide essentially shows you the percentage of the Indian population that has vitamin deficiencies. So LifePak Core has been designed to actually address those specific deficiencies. So in terms of the dosages and the amounts, it's going to index more towards making sure like the folate deficiency is covered or the riboflavin deficiency is covered. So it's really meant to be kind of a very localized offering. The same with the TRME kit. We know protein deficiency is a real thing in India. We also know that with a very heavy carb diet, there's a real need for slimming. So the TRME kit that we'll be offering initially will have a protein meal kit, some type of an Indian version of My Edge, and some type of an Indian version of Slim S. And to add to this, all of the products that we have in India on the wellness side will actually have our proprietary carotenoid blend. And with Prism, having our products have the carotenoid blend is really going to help with the Prism scores. In fact, we've partnered with an Indian company who is also based in Utah to create this proprietary carotenoid blend with a lot of local ingredients. Holy basil, curcumin, so saffron, a lot of like typical Indian ingredients are part of this blend. And this manufacturing partner is also has manufacturing locations in India where they're going to make this blend for us. So it's going to be a big part of our business. We're really excited about what Prism can do for us. And then on the other side, you'll notice we have our beauty products. Beauty makes up 11% of the direct selling space. And you'll notice that we have three different kits. We have a device kit, we have a basic skincare regimen kit, and then we have something that's called Serenew Professional. Serenew Professional might be something new that you're seeing. It's actually a new line that we've created for India. It's got local formulations, and it's a really a data-driven approach from the company to say this is a market that we believe we can play in. So the reason we have Serenew Professional is because there are a lot of salons in India. And it's a very disorganized space. By that I mean there's no one big chain that has all the salons. In fact, 80% of the salons only have one location. So what we like to do to address that market is actually build a professional line using our devices, our world-class devices, but also using our locally formulated skincare regimen. So what you see the products in here in the Serenew Professional package, you'll see that there's a LumiSpa, there's a Galvanic Spa, and then there's 6 different types of consumables. There's a cleanser, two types of serum, one type of serum, two types of toners, a moisturizer, and a clay mask. And with all of these products, you can actually do 2 different types of facials. You can do a brightening facial, which is a very important thing in India, and then you can do a hydration facial, which is more of a general kind of skincare maintenance approach. Another reason we have this Serenew Professional line is because when we did our research in India, we know that there's a little bit of apprehension from the consumer in using devices. Skincare is not very advanced in India from the end consumer perspective. It's gaining awareness, but even a basic skincare regimen is something that is still starting to gain trends. So when we did our research and talked about devices, a lot of the consumers were afraid, right? They looked at the LumiSpa and they said, "Oh, I don't know how to use this. Will it damage my skin?" They looked at the Galvanic. They said, "Oh, that's a current. Will it hurt me?" So part of the rationale of creating the Serenew Professional line is so that instead of the consumer using these devices at home, they can go to their salon where a professional can help them use it as they give their facial. The thinking there is that we can use the salons to create brand awareness about our devices, but also make the consumer more used to the idea of what our devices look like. Additionally, India has a more salon going culture, a behavior. Like most people will go to the salon once a week or once every 2 weeks. So we're hoping to create a lot of brand awareness with this brand, Serenew, which is the combination of serene and new. It's meant to be like a spa type experience that you can have at salons. Now, that being said, we're not going to limit these products just to salons. We are positioning it so that US leaders, if you go and try to talk to salon owners, this is something that's ready-made, available for you to give to the salon owners. They can use in their salons. They can use it to do facials. They can use it to generate some extra income for their shops. On the flip side, you will see these two other kits. That's more of our traditional Nu Skin kits. We have a LumiSpa kit, which is the device with our cleanser. And then you have a basic regimen kit, which is a glow kit, which has a cleanser, a toner, a moisturizer, a serum, and SPF. So a cleanse, tone, treat, moisturize, protect regimen. But this is our Nu Skin formulations. So from a pricing perspective, the Nu Skin products will be a little bit higher. The Serenew products are going to be more masstige priced, more for the affordable luxury approach. And again, this is to allow us to give some really good positioning and differentiation when we launch the market. So that's what our launch portfolio is going to look like. Um, and then I've talked a little bit about launch, pre-launch. You might have heard me use these words. What does that mean? Well, that just means we're really planning to get into India towards the end of this year, but it's going to be more of a pre-launch. So what does that mean to be a pre-launch? Well, it essentially means there's going to be a set of people who can go into India and build during that pre-launch window. And that set of people is any India eligible person. So remember the India eligible group that I talked about before, the four kinds. So the NRIs, the PIOs, the OCIs, the Indians living in India. Um, if they are able to, if they already have a Nu Skin account outside of India in an open market, and if they are a BR, a brand representative in any of those markets before November 1st, they'll be able to go into India. Well, they'll have to create an India account, but they'll be able to go into India, create an India account, and start building their India business as of November 1 already. So we'll use that to kind of generate the excitement, build the base for India. And then we'll have more of a formal official launch in the mid of next year. And there it's going to be open to everyone. You don't need to be a brand rep in your home country to go and build at that point in time. But before that, the only people who will be eligible to build are people who have become a brand rep in their home country, which will allow them to go and create their India account and start building their India business. This is very high level stuff, and that's because that's what's been shared with our team leads so far. But as Jane mentioned, I'm here in Greece today where we're going on the team lead cruise this week. And part of the cruise, we will be sharing more information to our team leads. We'll have a little bit more information on how US international leaders will get paid, some fun incentives that we're creating for the pre-launch period, what a high level overview of what the India compensation plan could look like. So in India, it's going to be a little bit different again because India is different with the regulations. So once we have these workshops, we expect to have some good feedback, have some more back and forth, some more questions from our leaders, and then we'll also start rolling this information out to the broader team. So those who are not able to attend this information this week, they will hear it soon from either their markets or we will start doing more trainings that is available for a bigger group of people. Additionally, what I talked about, like I mentioned, is very high level, but I have this QR code on here. So if you scan this QR code, it will take you to a binder location, and there will be three documents on there. One document is the India guidelines. As I mentioned, India rules and regulations are different. So please read those guidelines to know what you can do and what you cannot do. Additionally, there'll be another document that is an FAQ document, frequently asked questions. It's already it's got a good level of detail, but we've also gotten a lot of questions after, so we're going to keep adding to that FAQs. So please keep checking in to see any updates. Uh, the third document is going to be a one slide on what the product portfolio is. So what I just talked to you about with LifePak Core, TRMe, Serenew Professional, the LumiSpa kit, all of that information, and Prism IO, all of that information is going to be on that third document. So hopefully you have had a chance to take a picture of this QR code or scan it. So you have the information with the documents right there. So that's what I had in terms of sharing with you today. And then my one ask to this group obviously is what can you do between now and November 1st is really going, finding those Indians in your home market, signing them up in your home market, getting them to become a brand representative before November, because that's going to give you the best chance to have them go and build in India in that pre-launch window already. So that's all I had to share with this group today. And now I can open it up for any questions.
Thank you so much, Angel. Thank you for the high level but very insightful sharing. We really appreciate it. So, everyone, and then send our thank you and then heart in the chat to Angel. Thanking so much for sharing all this information to us. If you have any question, either unmute yourself or type in the chat so that Angel can help to answer some of your questions.
Andrew, you just mentioned the products that specifically available in India.
Yes, so the outside of the devices, so there were three devices that I mentioned. There's the LumiSpa, the Galvanic Spa, and the Prism. That is all our global devices, but all of the others are locally manufactured in India to make sure that we have a good price point, because we know Indians are very value conscious people. So the Indian consumer wants the best possible price. So that's a very major part of why we locally manufactured everything except the devices. We have to import the devices, but all of the other products are locally manufactured. The Serenew line, all of them are going to be Indian versions of the formulas, save a few products which will have our global formulas.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yep.
Angel, at this point, do you have any idea in terms of a price information about the package that you would just mention? Just like a range. It doesn't
Yeah.
need to be specific.
It doesn't need to be, yeah, exact. And we're not at a point where it's exact right now, but what I can share is like we have successfully manufactured some of the Serenew products already. So for those, we know it's not the full kit, but the individual items in the kit. So like the toner or the serum, all of those, the Serenew products will be between 900 rupees and 2,500 rupees, including tax. So that's anywhere between $12 and $30. So each individual product is going to be less than $30. In fact, most of them are going to be closer to like $15 to $20. The Nu Skin products, again, because we're locally manufacturing them, they'll be lower than our global pricing, but they'll be a little higher than the Serenew pricing because there are formulas. We have more clinicals for them. So that might be more in like the $25, $30, $35 range. For the Formnex, we think it'll be a little bit more. We're still working on figuring out what that exactly means, but we're working on finalizing formulas for that.
Awesome.